Okay, so, give me one second. Okay, good. So it looks like we got let me make sure we look like we're set here. I actually have my chat pulled up so I can see what people are saying. Uh, Let me know if you have any thoughts. So it looks like the game is working. Oh, you know what? All right. Thanks for your patience there. I had to mute our chat because I was just hearing myself. Okay, so this is Deadly Premonition. Uh, Basically, what you'll see is that it's a true homage to Twin Peaks, the David Lynch television series, film, etc. Um, don't worry, I'll turn on captions at some point. Um, Trying to turn it up a bit so you can hear it a little better. Um,
It's dangerous to run around
oh,
here,
they're on.
boys.
So we already sort of have this setup of a Laura Palmer sort of thing, as you'll see in a second. I'm just letting the opening cinematic play to give you the whole sense of the game. Um, Even the sort of like weirdo jazz, emotional strangeness here. Very Lynchian, very much I don't know, very much a clear homage, let's say. Swery is sort of the main voice here. Now a Tibetan monk, I guess. And thank Twitter user and friend Ingwit for pointing that out to me. But yeah, no, it's interesting. I don't know what to really say about this opening shot, so maybe I'll just let it work on its own. It's grim. One of the things that I think, again, for better or for worse, that Deadly Premonition gets right that other games that are sort of in the mold of Twin Peaks, like Alan Wake, which I just finished, is that it sort of gets the darkness of Twin Peaks, which always kind of has to do with this very sexualized and ritualized violence, which I think is pretty unpopular to represent in games. Alan Wake, for instance, was all just sort of like scary zombie characters, right? If you ever played that, if you haven't, just take my word for it. This has those kinds of characters. Allegedly, Swery did not want them originally. This was just supposed to be a game without any sort of violent conflict. But they're here, but for the most part, it's this sort of very traumatic, sexualized violence. A snake, obviously, if you want sort of a more obvious metaphor. Adam and Eve, right? Um, but in any case, yeah, you can see the distinction here, right? This is very much like Laura Palmer is drowned, as opposed to sort of like a monster story. There's a detective procedural quality to the whole thing, although, as you'll see with our character, it's a lot different than what you might expect. So that's interesting. Someone in the chat. So I'm actually reading the chat now. Uh, that's interesting. The Alan Wake is definitely, um, as pointed out, much more interested in Stephen King than Twin Peaks. I think that's right. Definitely, insofar as like the writer is such an important character, it's like obsessed with narrative in the way that King is, and like the narrative of sort of like the great author or whatever. But I think Alan Wake, if anything, sort of has too many influences. It just sort of goes for like an overarching darkness. There's a Twilight Zone kind of influence, explicit Twilight Zone influence. There's an explicit Twin Peaks influence with the lamp lady and the log lady, and then Stephen King as well. I think like Twin Peaks goes for something specific. So again, as you can see here, the strange jazz, the overacting, the strange settings, the sort of pregnant suggestions. This is clearly sort of an adaptation, even more than a inspiration of Twin Peaks. Whereas, like something like Alan Wake is definitely just taking it as part of its, overarching melange. So, like, a lot of women are pretty sad about this. Get art of the tree, right? The same way that you see, like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a good example of this. I mean, like the saloon that they go to in Twin Peaks sort of like melds the reality of violence in the world with sort of like art. This reminds me a lot of that saloon too, or sort of like the Red Room in Twin Peaks. You don't actually have to go that far to draw parallels. You'll see them all if you've seen the TV show, and if you haven't, I'm sure I'll keep pointing them out. But yeah, it's interesting. So hopefully we can have some stuff to talk about here. All right, so we're gonna start new. I've never actually finished this game, but I'm looking forward to doing it now. Check the options. Okay, we're good. Let's meet our detective. Some Amazing Grace up the top. Not at all evocative in any real way, of course. It's, we never hear that song in scary movies.
I want to hear another story.
Yes, of course.
It's much more fun in this game if you think
Waiting a long time for this, so how about a special one?
it's much more fun if you think about the dubs in this as
Very strange.
as akin to sort of the overacting in Silent Hill,
Someone
Twin Peaks,
nostalgic.
as opposed to
You can
just
be a
bad
good
voice
girl.
acting.
Listen all the way to the end.
Is it a scary story?
It might be, but it's also a very important story. If you don't want to hear it, I can tell you a different story.
No, I want to hear it. This way, I won't be scared.
Will you turn on the TV then? Leave the sound down like always. Now, this is important. At times, we must purge things from this world because they should not exist.
Very
Even if it
this is a this is a very Alan Wake sentiment, but it's also a very JRPG sentiment. This game definitely meets at the cross purposes of survival horror and JRPG. For better or for worse. Well, that's interesting. I don't know anything about the Black Glove, but that's very interesting. The idea of like a truly Lynchian game is pretty interesting to think about, just because I honestly don't know how you'd make it work. There's so much that Lynch does that is like not like not really usable in terms of like, I don't know, video games. Things that are like digestible material as opposed to set pieces. Burn on Washington State there. Get this card. Cool. Let's look at everything here.
Sorry to keep you waiting. It will start soon.
See, so this is definitely the Red Room. I mean, the only thing that they could be doing more is speaking backwards. Francis York Morgan is putting his finger to his ear, very Kyle MacLachlan-esque. Of course, there's Zach, just like Diane.
Zach, can you hear me? It's me, York. If you can hear my voice, could you respond? Good. I thought you went to sleep.
A lot of
Zach, don't be surprised.
a lot of what are they called?
Let's take it slow.
Basically like action events, live action events where you actually need to hit a button in the right moment or whatever. They're not fun. I find they're actually like, I'm gonna turn it down a little bit. I find they're actually like not effective at all.
That's one way of looking at it, but it's totally wrong. Listen, they both need each other. It's called interdependency, and they both know it. Yeah, I know. He does terrible things to Tom. Nasty, even sadistic things. But that's fine, as long as that's what Tom wants.
This is like always an interesting thing to
He's always asking for it.
see how many things he's doing in the car.
Fulfill that need, and Jerry knows that. Proof? Well, in the Tom and Jerry show, they live with each other.
Like York is basically just like your bog standard Reddit poster. Or like you know, basically coming up with a theory he could get some upvotes on the forums or whatever.
These puppies are making me go to another town in the boondocks again. Well, I'll be a happy camper, even if it ends up being a waste of time. Or at least it'll get me to Cram City for a while. Right, Zach?
So unlike Diane, Zach seems to be someone he talks to without checking in.
Traitor from the last case really was
Which is kind of interesting because Diane in Twin Peaks operates as this sort of like a Laert, not a Laertes, a Horatio kind of figure in Hamlet, who gets a you know, who gets to be the recorder or whatever of the tale. Zach in this is just basically like an excuse to have a conversation.
this when I arrested the Catwoman wannabe. You're crazy. Don't you agree, Zach?
Zach, don't agree to his misogyny. The no smoking lighter is really good. Someone pointed that out to me before. So part of what got this game so panned outside, I mean, the story's pretty interesting, but soon as you'll see, the game mechanics are aggressively bad. Really difficult game to play, which again, kind of, I mean, if we want to be really meta about it, ties in with the Lynchian idea, right? It's a hard movie to watch, it's a tough game to play, that kind of thing. Much more to like aesthetically than there is practically. No cigarette.
Zach, there goes the civilized world.
All right. So you're gonna get to see the mechanics here in action in all their glory. Yes, I do want to save. I don't know why I wouldn't want to save. Alright. So, what's nice is I started this last time playing on my laptop that did not really have a very good graphics card or anything. It was real herky-jerky. It's not the best anymore, but I think that's a lot because of the port. Graphics-wise, it's certainly acceptable. Let's observe the car. What do we have here? Steel pipe. Good. All right. So, here's our toolbox. I like the toolbox mechanic. It's sort of like a very random kind of, I don't know. Well, we don't have anything in there yet. I just wanted to see if maybe they put a little Easter egg in there. But it's sort of like a very much like a bag of holding sort of scenario. Insofar as this game has a lot of RPG elements to it. Okay, so here you see like equip weapon and draw it with spacebar, draw weapon and aim with mouse. So here we go. Look, here's my steel pipe. Equip it with the spacebar. Hit spacebar and then tap the mouse. It's not very effective. It's not all that good at all, actually, but that's okay. We'll forgive it. The game is jerky. Maybe I can look up a fix for this. I'm not sure there is going to be one. It might just be kind of... The profiling is really interesting. I don't actually know where it turns out, but this idea of like profiling as a film, right? Again, tying back into the Lynchian overtones. This game's really obsessed with film in the same way that, like, I don't know, most Lynch movies are interested in sociocultural, like, what would I say here? Interactions as like ways of thinking about film. Right. So again, this isn't a sandbox game by any stretch of the imagination, at least at this point. There are sandbox elements that'll be coming up, which are cool. I'm excited to hear about that, or to see how that goes. The attack seems to be going smooth, which is really all we really want. You'll just have to forgive me for some blotchy times, and just believe me that my computer is actually quite good. It's just not running this at the level I would want it to. All right. So yeah, I mean, one of the things that's really interesting to think about with a game like this, right, is what we expect out of our games. I mean, the mechanics here are not good. The action is kind of sparse. We got a spooky, like, we get a spooky sort of mystery case, right? The graphics aren't perfect by any stretch of the imagination. There's all sorts of issues, but it's doing something interesting, which I think is kind of worth thinking about. Right, so you see the zombies, right? I kind of like that the rumor that the people who made the game didn't want the zombies. I think that speaks well of them. zombies in video games, even like I know that this is like more like the Japanese Ghost or whatever, or Korean Ghost or however you want to think about it, but like, oh yeah, the food in this, the sort of health is pretty funny. It's just not really interesting anymore. Alright, so we'll turn it on. Alright, easy peasy. I mean, right now, in a lot of ways, this game is a very typical survival horror, right? We're out in the rain, we're in a cabin. Pretty straightforward as far as that goes. It'll go in different ways, but we do need to get through this initial part at first, which any tutorial worth its salt gives you an idea of what the mechanics of a game are going to be. Which makes this sort of strange, right? This is not the... I don't know, I guess in some ways it sets you up nice. But it doesn't really tell you much about the game. Our profiling tactics. Okay. Alright, so equip weapon and draw it with space. Draw weapon and aim with mouse. Draw weapon and lock on with left control and mouse right. See, like this is just really bad. Well, I pull out. Alright, well, apparently I can do it. Stabilizer for some medicine. I like that I really like that the medicine and the healing supplies in this game are like weird junk you'd find in like a bad like grocery store at a farmer's market. It lends a sort of sense of terror to it, or maybe a sense of ruralness. Again, like one of the questions I think we're going to want to ask ourselves through this is whether or not this game intends to scare us. The question that Zach's, or whoever's, I don't know if it's Zach's, that's my assumption, the little girl asks in the beginning, right? Is this a scary story? And the grandpa or whoever says maybe it is. I wonder a little bit about that. If in fact that's not the game asking us, like, in a fairly straightforward way, like, what's the point of this game, right? Is it scary? It might be scary, but it's important too, right?
A lot of crazy situations.
Oh,
That one.
listen to what York has to say.
That one takes the cake. It's the first time I've been attacked so directly. Zach, can you give me a logical explanation about what that was? Never mind, don't answer. Life is fun because of the mysteries. Right, Zach?
Oh, I should probably pick up my phone. Phone's ringing somewhere. Oh, I see. Yeah, lollipop, a chupa chup. You can tell by the packaging. Where are all my 90s and early 2000s high school kids? Chupa chup life, man. Alright, so I like that the game requires you to spend a moderate amount of money to save. I like that you have to call into the FBI too. That's kind of clever. In any case, what I was saying before was I think that question about whether or not this game is scary is kind of an important one. In as much as, you know, the game wants to be important. The game wants to be like interesting in a new way. It's clearly experimenting with some things. But it's also kind of doing typically scary stuff, and it's not, I don't know, man, it's not like particularly scary. Maybe it's more scary than I'm giving it credit for, who knows. But it's not like incredibly scary by any stretch of the imagination. So I'm trying to break this box. There we go. I wonder if I can... I can, okay. So we'll want to see if it gets scarier, if it even intends to be scary. That'd be another question we might have for it. Oh, this guy's a steel pipe. Probably don't want to mess around with him. There we are. Take my steel pipe. Yeah, he does have a lot of that dude with the pipe had a ton of power. As does Zach. It's like anyone with the baseball bat sort of swing, right? In this game is just like definitely powerful. Definitely the kind of person you want to watch for. I'm impressed that his bulk and his blocking could take so much of that that dude's the gunshots right to the face. It seems like that would be the best strategy in fighting a guy like Zach would be to just, you know, be sort of really fat and able to ooh, okay. Able to handle a bunch of gunshots. This is not a current gen game in a lot of ways. It's a PS, I think it's a PS3 game, but and shows like that explosion was not exactly impressive. In some ways, this reminds me of like a PS2 game, and again, not in a bad way. I don't think like graphics are really what Swery or the crew or who made this game are interested in, as we'll find out as we go along. Still, sort of interesting. Oh yeah, core strength. And a medal that I get for my really good exercising. Here's another question for you. If the game wasn't supposed to be scary, or if the zombies weren't supposed to be there, I guess what would be the point of it? Would it be sort of like would it be in any way a standard game, or would it have to be something different? Is there something like actually sort of like experimental about a game like this if it wasn't throwing zombies in your face every time? Or is it still a fairly typical game? Would it be like sort of like a walking simulator of what we're kind of used to at this point when we think about walking simulators? Or would it be a little different? I don't know the answer to that. Interested in thinking about it. The main thing I'm going to have to get used to is this Switch stream is talking while I'm playing a video game. Hard to keep my thoughts straight, especially complex thoughts. Soon we'll see the Raincoat Killer, which will always be exciting. So we have a little more to talk about as far as that goes. Before we see the killer, again, I'd like to bring up an idea. So, you know, obviously someone messed with this. Why have a bunch of zombies and a killer, right? That would be the question. I don't know the answer to it. Maybe we will actually see why. We got another profile unlock. That's useful. Try and profile a little more. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say like incredible commentary, but a little bit, yeah, here and there. Yeah, I think you're actually right. Like, I actually, so what someone in the chat mentioned that it's not as if like QuickTime events are actually bad. And thank you for giving me the name of them. I just totally whiffed. And they aren't. I think like one of the problems with the QuickTime events in this game is that like they're so badly done, and it might be because like it's the computer, but as you might find out in when I fight when I get to the first QuickTime event in like a second, it's really hard to make it work. You can like totally just be doing the right thing and get killed, which is really irritating. But that said, like I really enjoyed QuickTime events. Weirdly, in Resident Evil 4, I thought they were fun. There's all sorts of like good uses of QuickTime events. I just think this game has such sloppy controls that they really shouldn't have been messing with that. I think they just should have been focusing on, making the game work a little better. Alright. Ooh, oh boy. Totally missed him. Her. Good thing she's not attacking, huh? I really like how clear it is that Swery was not interested in having combat in this game. Like, I remember it being really hard, but I think what was really hard about it was the fact that my computer couldn't run the game. Now that my computer can run the game, it's pretty straightforward to kill these zombies. Did I miss Janitor Zombie? I'm so sorry. That was not my intention at all. Was that a female zombie? I think. Maybe I called it he. Sorry. This game goes out of its way to humanize its characters. I may as well humanize them as well. We could try and ship some of the villagers if you guys would like. I would be okay with that. Oh, that guy did that. Oh, that guy did the scary ghost thing. Ah! Alright, I think I'm going to try and get through the, just the intro bit if I can today. Just so next time we pick up we can be at the town, which is quite a bit more interesting. Because we get characters. I think this game does atmosphere well. I'm actually even enjoying it more than Alan Wake at this point, which is kind of a damning account of Alan Wake. Maybe I'm being unfair. But there's something more atmospheric about this whole thing. And again, it could be just because Deadly Premonition is not at all interested in providing challenges, which this is a weird thing to say, but maybe that actually in a game like this, that's okay. I'm a challenge guy. I really like games like Dark Souls, and I like a challenge with my video games, but I don't know. A game has to be really interested in mechanics. That's actually, I guess, what I'd say. A game has to be really interested in mechanics to provide a good challenge, like an enjoyable challenge. If it's just kind of like throwing in mechanics as a last ditch kind of thing, which I feel, right or wrong, this game is doing, it doesn't, like, challenge doesn't kind of play into it in any real serious way. And so for Alan Wake, which also had kind of a bad mechanics problem, this is like, making it hard. It's kind of a silly idea, is what I would say. Nice explosion. Very realistic. Oops. Ugh, I was reading the chat. What a mistake. What a mistake. Oh, God. Okay, we're still alive, everyone. Now I'm gonna pause and read the chat. Oh, yeah. Sleeping Dogs is totally like that. The focusing on no graphics. It's like, that game is a strange one. Like, there's games like LA Noire where I want to follow every rule, like while driving. I guess we'll focus a little bit on driving in this game too, which is going to be an exciting problem. But there are games like LA Noire where like I'll drive around LA and I'll follow every speeding law as best I can. Um, and then there are games like Sleeping Dogs where like I can't quite tell what the game wants me to do. Like it hasn't tried enough like to make a convincing driving simulator that I can't imagine it really wants me to do that. And then it also hasn't tried enough to like can bring me an atmosphere, so I can't imagine it wants to do that either. I guess one thing you can say about Deadly Premonition, just even off the top, is that it commits right really hard to a particular kind of particular sort of atmosphere. All right, so let's see if I can get past this QuickTime event. There's one coming up. All right. Well, I didn't do it. Uh-oh. All right. Let's see. See, this is going to happen a couple times. This is just going to happen. Yeah, it owns, Brett. It's so good. Driving on the correct side of the street and just being super careful in LA Noire. I don't understand why that relaxed me in any serious way. Here's the other problem with with this particular QuickTime scene or QuickTime event. It takes place in this completely irritating spot where now I have to go through and kill all these zombies again. I'll try and be quick about it. If I died like 8 times here my first time through, so if that happens, I won't force you guys to be a part of that. It seems like unnecessarily cruel. Uh-oh. Then again, I was much worse at shooting because of my old computer. This is much easier. I'm a little shocked at how much easier it is, actually. And I also, again, I appreciate that this game is kind of signaling to us that it doesn't so much care about typical video game stuff. It's like it's totally cool giving me a gun with infinite bullets that is not worthless. Yeah, there's reloading, and I guess that's a hassle. I have to, you have to watch for that, but it's like you don't actually have to bother about conserving ammo even a little bit. Okay. Alright, got all my medals. Got all my money so I can call the call my superiors in Langley and report on this town, and also I guess like Russian hacking of the election or whatever. Listen, man, they should make a video game of the 2016 election. Oh no. I think we can all agree with that zombie that I totally deserved that. Oh god. So these are the terrible controls I was talking about. I mean, I'm not perfect at video games. Certainly I deserve some part of the blame here. That's pretty bad. Oh god. Sorry everyone. I'll start talking again in a second. There we go. So, yeah, I think like, there's something to be said about frustration in games, and there's something to be said about difficulty and balancing it. And I have to say, the game definitely signals to you that it's not interested in making you work for what it's doing. Okay, hang on. Yes! Oh. I love how stylish the Raincoat Killer is. How interested he is in, like, being an anime character. Alright, I'm gonna read the chat. Yeah, I guess that's true. You can't expect the so someone in chat said they don't let the infinite clip guns out on the street. Like you can't expect to buy an infinite clip gun at using the gun show loophole, right? Just like show up and It's like be talking to some dude and he's like, well, you know what? This gun costs a little extra, but I think you're gonna like the perk. It never runs out of ammo. Am I going the right way? I don't think I am. No, I am. This is the correct way. Because look, here's a barrel I didn't blow up. Oh god. There we are. Something hurt me. Crap. Ugh, this control scheme is terrible. I just have to back up enough to get your gun out so that you can hold space and hit control and tap the mouse button. It's just a mess. Hey everyone, I hit him in the junk. That's the kind of mature commentary you can expect from my new video. You know what? I was going the wrong way. Alright, let's make it quick. God knows I don't want to waste your time. You could be watching much more interesting people playing much more interesting video games. Although I think I'm getting the hang of talking to y'all, which is nice. See, what's funny about Resident Evil 4 is that I never really found the controls to be clunky, if only because like I think I played it at exactly the right time. I like right when I was kind of invested in the GameCube as a new gen thing, and like Resident Evil 4 seemed so interesting and new. Like I was used to the old Res Evil controls, like the really weird circle axis and shooting. So I never thought of it as clunky, but like looking back on it, I'm sure it would have been. All right, cool. Now we get the full profile. Let's see what we see. I got good news. This game's going to involve someone who loves coffee and someone who loves eating at diners. Which is just incredibly exciting for all of you Lynch heads out there who want to talk about coffee. The thing that always happened when my wife and I would watch Twin Peaks is that every time we watched it, we would have to go out and get... yeah, actually I love that.
It said, tomorrow you'll arrive in a place that will change your fate.
So we'd always have to buy donuts, because you know we'd watch. You can listen to me while I run up and down this road and try and pursue like all my complete accomplishment of getting the medals and stuff. But it was funny because you know, if you've watched the show, you know they go to these diners, or they go to the diner and get coffee and pie and stuff like that, and then also the police buy these like spreads of donuts. And they just look so good. So every time we watched the show, we would have to go out and buy a dozen donuts. It was a huge... actually, I'm not going to do that. That's just insane. There was kind of a huge waste of money, but it was also really great. Like, it just made... It made the whole experience really memorable, which on some level, I think, like, one of the things Lynch and a lot of weirdo or, like, out there film directors do is they just include like a lot of metonymy. They include a lot of things that your brain will connect to one way or another, in the hopes that you find something that you can connect with and be like, oh wow, this is for me, like this thing is important to me for, you know, some emotional reason that they actually don't intend. And you know, I don't think that's like a bad thing. I think in some ways that's just it's a kind of a very postmodern sort of, you know, the text is not the text or the author is dead sort of thing, where you're forced to consider your audience's reception, and in their case it's like, well, listen, like if the audience receives this faithfully or in like an open way, then they're probably going to like it, or we can probably get our point across. And if we can do that by way of appealing to like what, like their love of donuts, for instance, yeah, it's not such a bad deal. Oh yeah, 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 definitely. It's like it's super, super on the nose with all this stuff. You know, they make the detective, the it's not the chief, but it's, I guess this would be like sort of the Native American detective. That's the deputy's, or the deputy, not the sheriff. But they make her female because there's, you know, sexual tension and stuff. But yeah, it's super on the nose. Wait till you see the town logging. It's definitely, it's incredible. Sorry, I'll let you guys listen.
She's easy on the eyes. Definitely worth a trip to the primitive world. By the way, don't mention anything about what happened back there. She'll think you're a psycho. Don't do that. Do the
There's like genuinely funny moments in this game too.
I'm the sheriff, George Woodman.
I love George's character design, but he looks so bad. Like his eyes are just, ugh, it's just awful.
FBI Special Agent Francis York Morgan. Please, just call me York. That's what everyone calls me.
Could you tell me why the FBI is so interested in a small town homicide?
Pretty sure these are just all B-sides from the David Lynch soundtrack. Well, it's not David Lynch's soundtrack, but it's Angelo Badalamenti.
You can remain anonymous. You don't have a problem with this, do you?
No, no problem.
I think he's beautiful. I think he's his own thing, though.
Small town has its share
You know what? I should be more open to beauty in many ways.
the one fixing them one by one and maintaining peace and order.
His Fu Manchu is very important. That's the point that's not scary, but important.
By the way, George, I had a little accident with my car.
Watch that tie, pal. Shaken.
Oh, and my clothes and luggage are still inside.
All right, don't worry. I'll get my assistant Thomas to take care of
Everyone in these, I love how like little parts of their models start jerking around. The tie, her hair.
Well then, I think I'll rest up first at the hotel. Then I'll join you on your investigation.
I do appreciate that they don't have better graphics in the
really don't.
cutscenes.
Unlike some of your clubs, play it by the book. I hope you'll come to appreciate that, Agent Morgan. We'll handle the investigation. You just think of this as a vacation. Take it easy. Enjoy the nature here. You don't have to be a tree worshiper to appreciate the wildlife.
Stupid liberal tree worshippers. I do like that he sort of like.
Reassess the situation. There are no cavemen here.
I like this reassessment a lot.
And we've just met the caveman.
I like that York's immediate reassessment of this instance is that he's like in in medieval like Europe. He sort of has located a particular fiefdom. All right, I did way better this time. Not that it matters. It's not like I'm getting graded like I'm Solid Snake over here. Oh yeah, you're right. Someone in the chat said the corrupt city officers. You know, there aren't any unexplained shootings here. You know, this is a pretty serious police department, you guys. They are not corrupt, and they're not. That's not coded language. It just means they're really serious about police safety and Ooh, let's see the previously.
Previously during the investigation, these puppies are making me go to another town in the boondocks again.
I didn't think you'd keep me waiting in the rain for so long.
Welcome.
Let's end with the important stuff.
Definitely something in this town.
Let's end with Call Me George Woodman.
What's that? Coffee one.
All right. So we'll wake up in the hotel, and I think that's probably where we'll end up.
It's broken. I've been using that one for a long time.
Why didn't you get it repaired? This TV is important to you, right?
It's got
Chat, who do you think the old person is?
attached to it, sure. I used to watch movies on this thing with your grandma all the time.
Grandma liked movies?
Did you guys see the license plate? It said "I love movies." I think we're getting a hint.
I've never been to a movie theater, though.
Secretly, I hope they never explain the frame story. That'd be really great. All right, we'll finish up here. I want to take this trading card for sure. Ugh. Oh, awful. Nice, a sugar donut. Very Twin Peaks. Oh no, it fell. It's a drag. Wish I could pick it up, but afraid I've not been given that action item. It's locked. Is it? Yes, it is. Alright. On to the next one, I suppose. Anything I can open? No. You guys are going to get really sick of my tendency to search everything. I'm going to try and curb it, because I can't imagine anything more boring than that. Yeah, the tie physics are pretty cool, actually. I think that's probably something like a the most. Ooh, I can zoom in. The most advanced kind of ragdoll graphics they have in this game is on that weird teddy bear's tie. I really like the red in the game. I think that's a smart aesthetic choice. This game came out in 2010. That's incredible. Uh-oh.
Don't breathe. Hold your breath. They can't see you if you hold your breath.
Introducing the
Hurry.
critically acclaimed holding your breath mechanic. Oh, whoops. I have to hit the left control to hold my breath. Oops. Oh boy. Oh boy. Should have held my breath. I hope I have to continue and hold my breath better. Good. I do. Oh boy. I actually really like all the weirdo quirks in this game, to be honest. Alright, let's remember to hold our breath. A little misleading that they have you, it's like a tapping of the left control button, and then when you try and tap it, you die. Yeah, I can see why. It's really complex. They start like flashing the left control, and it's like, should I tap it? Should I hold it? I'm like, if you mess up even once, that zombie just comes and gets you.
Don't breathe. Hold your breath. They can't see you if you hold your breath.
Okay. Remember what to do, everyone.
Like this. Cover your mouth.
Okay. Left control. All right. Gonna hold my breath. That kid's gonna help me. I think I'd be really concerned if I had dreams like York had. Like, even if I wasn't actually, like, obviously, if you're actually attacking the zombies, there's something to be concerned about. But just dreaming about children telling you to hold your breath, it's like a little weird, a little troubling. This guy dancing. I like that he has no teeth. The mouth is actually one of the things that really, like, the graphics really kind of help you with, because it looks terrifying. And I don't think it's intentional. I think it's just they couldn't render a good mouth. All right. This line was delivered as an homage to Chris Redfield, or Jill Valentine, excuse me, in the first Resident Evil. Chris's blood. Yeah, the zombies are actually kind of terrifying in a certain way. Like, again, I think it's because, like, they're not rendered perfectly. They aren't, like, they look a little off. It's like everyone in the game. But them looking a little off is really, like, I don't know, kind of awful. Yeah, man, you can fish. I haven't gotten to that yet, but we'll definitely spend some time fishing as a community. I really like Twitch streaming these games, actually. I'm going to do this more often. It's really fun to have people to bounce this off of.
Zach, the symbolism in my dreams continues to intensify. A forest of red trees, a carpet with red leaves, a strange doll, and twin angels. But that child is what bothers me the most.
Someone's read as Freud.
I swear I've seen him before. Just can't remember where.
That's smoke.
Well, it'll probably come back to me eventually. For now, we need coffee.
All right. So I'm going to find a place to save.
Let's head to the cafeteria, Zach.
I think probably.
Have some real coffee. I really need some coffee.
I think it
And
probably
the
saved.
sheriff's office. There's a proper procedure for everything, right, Zach?
Zach cares about procedure. Ugh. All right, let's save. Great. All right, everyone. Well, I am gonna sign off for now because I need to get to sleep, but I'll be coming back to this pretty soon. Thanks for hanging with me. This is actually really fun. And I'm really looking forward to going through this completely, I don't know, completely unique and charming game with you all very, very soon. So, let's see if, oh, it's even charming to quit. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. All the info's on the page, but, you know, it was really a pleasure. And, yeah, keep following, you know, and if you miss one, if it's not streaming when you're on, I will have it up at YouTube. Oh man, I missed the different suits. I promise that'll be the first thing I do. And I'll even try and stream it at the same time, so maybe some of you can be here to watch it live. I'll try on the new suits, I'll explain them, I'll describe their aesthetics. Alright, well anyway, you don't want to see my desktop. I'll stop streaming now. Thanks everyone. I actually really I'm glad that you enjoyed it too, and I hope to stream with you again soon.